If I asked you who invented the airplane, you'd probably say the Wright brothers. And in most of the world, that's the standard answer. But in Brazil, and in parts of France, that answer is controversial. Because here's the real question. What counts as the first flight? Is it the first controlled, powered flight, even if it happens in a small, informal test with limited witnesses? Or is it the first flight that's public, officially recognized, and clearly self-powered from takeoff to landing? Today, we're looking at Alberto Santos-Dumont, Brazil's most iconic aviation pioneer, and why many people argue he deserves the title Father of Aviation. In December 1903, in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, the Wright brothers flew the Wright Flyer. It was controlled, it was powered, and it was real. But their early flights were not staged like a public spectacle. They weren't presented to a major scientific organization with formal certification at the time, and their takeoff method also became part of the debate. In 1903, the Flyer launched from a rail with a wheeled dolly, still self-powered, but not rolling on its own wheels like later airplanes would. Later, the Wrights added a catapult system to assist takeoffs in their 1904 to 1905 experiments, another detail that critics love to bring up. So the argument isn't they didn't fly. The argument is, what kind of flight are we counting as the birth of aviation? Now fast forward to 1906, Paris, a city obsessed with technology, speed, and spectacle. And into that world steps Alberto Santos-Dumont, wealthy, brilliant, eccentric, and completely fearless about being watched. He unveils a strange machine, the 14 Bs. And, unlike the Wrights, Santos-Dumont doesn't test it quietly in a remote place. He makes it a public event. On October 23, 1906, in front of officials and a crowd, the 14 BIS lifts off and flies about 60 meters. Then, on November 12, 1906, he flies 220 meters, setting a major European record and turning the moment into a global headline. And here's what made it so powerful for public memory. It was public, documented, and officially recognized in Europe. No secrecy, no mystery. A man, a machine, a crowd, and the sky. So who was first? If your definition is the first controlled, sustained, powered flight of a heavier-than-air aircraft, then the Wright brothers are the strongest claim. But if your definition is the first publicly witnessed, officially recognized powered flight of an airplane taking off under its own power in front of authorities, then Santos-Dumont becomes the symbol of that first. That's why this debate never dies. It's not just history, it's definitions. And Santos-Dumont wasn't just an inventor. He was the first true aviation celebrity. Before the airplane, he was famous for flying dirigibles around Paris, making aviation feel real to everyday people. He turned flying into something the public could imagine, not just something engineers could calculate. And there's another piece of his legend, his connection with Cartier. The story goes that he wanted a more practical way to check time while flying, and that helped inspire one of the earliest pilot-style wristwatches associated with his name. But here's the biggest difference in his philosophy. Santos-Dumont believed aviation should belong to everyone. He didn't build his legacy around secrecy. He made flying public, visibly, loudly, and in front of the world. As the years passed, Santos-Dumont watched the world change. Aviation, once a dream of human progress, also became tied to war and destruction. He died in 1932, but his legacy didn't die with him. In Brazil, he's a national hero. In France, he's remembered as a pioneer who proved powered flight in public view. And globally, the question still hangs in the air. Was the first flight the Wrights in 1903 or Santos-Dumont in 1906? The honest answer is, it depends on what you believe first should mean. But one thing is undeniable. Santos-Dumont helped make aviation real, not just as an invention, but as a public reality the world could see. So, who deserves the title Father of Aviation? The Wright brothers or Santos-Dumont? Drop your take in the comments. This one always starts a war. And if you want more untold history like this, subscribe to Brazil Facts.